My father, tired of watching me scrape by on a tiny salary with no girlfriend in sight, took decisive action and arranged a marriage for me with a powerful female CEO. She's 5 feet 7 inches, almost never comes home, and casually tossed me an unlimited platinum card so I wouldn't interrupt her private time with her first love. I decided to put that card to good use and headed straight to the most exclusive lounge in the city, booking 5 top-tier hostesses. At that exact moment, in an elegant rooftop restaurant, Victoria Langford's phone vibrated against the marble table. She gave it a detached glance, then lifted her champagne flute and took a slow sip. The man beside her, Julian Hayes, gazed at her with restrained longing. "Victoria, today is your wedding anniversary. What do you expect Noah to think when he sees you here with me?" Her tone was pure frost. "You don't need to worry about his opinion." The phone buzzed again. This time she actually looked. "Your account has been charged $38,000. Your account has been charged $375,000. In 2 years of marriage, this was the first time Noah Brooks had ever touched her card. Victoria's fingertip hovered over the screen. A thin, icy smile curved her lips. Julian pressed gently, "Maybe you should go home tonight." Before she could respond, another notification arrived. "Your account has been charged $62,000. For the first time in my life I experienced the intoxicating rush of spending without checking prices, of being treated like royalty. 20-plus years of pent-up desire exploded. Victoria's phone kept vibrating every few minutes. She ignored it through the rest of dinner. Only after paying the bill did she finally scroll through the alerts. Then her best friend called. Elena's voice was thick with amusement. "Victoria, I just saw your husband at Eclipse Lounge. He booked an entire VIP section with 5 hostesses. If you don't get over there soon you're going to need a chainsaw for the jungle growing on your head." Victoria gave a short, mirthless laugh. "Noah Brooks reserving models? That's absurd." Elena sent a photo. The man in the image wore a charcoal bespoke suit, sharp jawline, cool eyes, radiating quiet power. Elena teased, "You sure that's even your husband? He looks like someone entirely different tonight." Victoria felt reality tilt. There was no possible way that was Noah. Julian spoke again. "Victoria, really, go home. I can attend the screening alone." She put the phone away, expression unchanged, and left with Julian for the premiere. 20 minutes later Julian posted on Instagram about the film's first screening. Almost immediately Victoria received another alert. Noah Brooks has just loaded $900,000 onto his club account at Eclipse. She couldn't stay seated. Face a mask of ice, she walked out mid-film. Meanwhile, in the private VIP suite at Eclipse, I reclined on a velvet sectional, sipping vintage Dom Perignon worth $18,000 a bottle. 5 stunning hostesses surrounded me, one kneading my shoulders, another my calves, pure bliss. I closed my eyes and sighed. This was paradise. Hard to believe that just days earlier I'd been an exhausted, broke office worker who literally died from an all-nighter reading a trashy web novel. Now I'd awakened inside that very novel, as the pathetic, lovesick side character who shared my name, Noah Brooks. The original Noah came from one of the richest families in the country. Yet he spent 5 years obsessively pursuing the female lead, Victoria Langford, who only ever loved her childhood sweetheart. Eventually their parents forced the marriage. After the wedding Victoria was almost never home. When she was, she treated him like furniture. Unable to bear it, the original Noah spiraled, eventually causing his family's downfall and his own tragic death. What a monumental waste of a golden ticket. I clicked my tongue and shook my head. The club manager was giving his sales pitch. I waved a lazy hand and loaded another $800,000 onto my tab using Victoria's card. When Victoria burst into the suite she found me casually running my fingers along a hostess's thigh, completely absorbed. "Nice tone. How many squats a day?" The other women immediately started competing, lifting legs, giggling. "Noah, feel mine." "Mine too, look." I nearly got a nosebleed. Rich life really was something else. Just as I reached again, the door slammed open. Everyone. Out. Now. Victoria's voice could have frozen nitrogen. I hadn't expected her to actually show up. Reluctantly, I gave the innocent-looking hostess beside me one last gentle squeeze on the waist. You ladies go ahead. I'll call when I'm free again. The suite emptied in seconds. Only the two of us remained. I leaned back, openly studying her. No wonder the original Noah fell so hard at first sight. Even next to 5 professional models, she was in another league: long legs, perfect features, aura that demanded attention. As I admired her, she spoke, voice lethal. Spending my money to cheat on me, Noah Brooks. Do you really think I won't do anything about it? I raised an eyebrow. My features were sharper now: cool eyes, defined jaw, top button undone showing a hint of collarbone. She had never seen this version of me before: calm, unbothered, almost dangerous. Nothing like the jealous wreck from 2 hours earlier. I answered with mock innocence. Your money? We're married. Your money is our money. You can spend it on candlelit dinners with your first love. Why can't I buy myself some company? I wasn't afraid. The novel made it very clear: Victoria felt physical revulsion toward the original Noah. Touching him made her nauseous. Laying a hand on me would be self-inflicted torture. She let out a cold laugh. Drop the performance. You deliberately ran up my card and caused a scene just to force me to come here, didn't you? I looked up at her, gently took her hand. But you did come. You left Julian behind. Does that mean I matter more than him? Her face turned to glaciers. I've warned you before, don't push me. This is your last warning. If I ever catch you like this again, this marriage is over. She snatched her hand back, wiped it with a napkin in disgust, exactly as the book described. I almost laughed out loud. Rubbing my chin, I leaned back and crossed my legs. You won't even let me touch you. Honestly, I've been over this marriage for a long time. Put the divorce papers on the table right now. If I hesitate even 1 second, then I, Noah Brooks, am a complete coward. Victoria froze. Then a slow, mocking smile spread across her face. Divorce? You're serious? After years of chasing her desperately, after acting like a dying man in the desert just hours ago, hearing him say divorce now was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. My gaze lingered on her face, then drifted down her long legs. Either let me touch you, or we divorce. Your choice. Her expression darkened instantly. Right in front of me she called her assistant. Prepare a divorce agreement. Have it delivered to the house first thing tomorrow. I finished my drink in one swallow, set the glass down, stood up. Your decision. Don't come crying later. Victoria's brows furrowed. She opened her mouth, but I walked straight past her and out the door without another glance. She stood frozen, increasingly convinced I was drunk. That was the only explanation for this bizarre, fearless behavior. When I got home I went straight upstairs. Victoria watched my retreating back, the man who hadn't even looked at her once, and only snapped out of it when I disappeared. She sat on the sofa. Images of the man who now wanted to divorce her kept flashing through her mind. She let out a cold laugh. She couldn't wait to see his face tomorrow when she dropped the papers in front of him. With that thought she headed upstairs. She paused outside my door when she heard loud, off-key singing. Oh, what a beautiful morning, everything's going my way. She stopped, intending to tell me to shut up, only to find the door locked from the inside. The man who used to scheme every possible way to get into her bed had locked her out. My drunken serenade continued. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Realizing the meltdown was in full swing, Victoria finally turned and left. The room I was in was the master suite. Because Victoria refused to share a bed with the original Noah, she'd moved to a guest room, leaving this enormous space to him. I looked around at the designer wardrobe, the row of 6-figure watches, and kept singing happily. I took a long soak in the oversized jacuzzi, then sank into the cloud-like king bed, feeling like I was living in the best dream possible. The next morning Victoria came downstairs. The dining table was empty, no breakfast waiting, no Noah gazing at her with lovesick eyes. She glanced at my closed bedroom door and smirked. As expected, he'd sobered up, realized what he'd said, and was now hiding like a scared child, regretting his big divorce talk. She sneered, tossed the divorce agreement onto the coffee table, and left for work. I'd never slept in such luxury. I didn't wake until almost 1 in the afternoon. Seeing the opulent bedroom around me, I finally accepted it. Yes, I had transmigrated into this novel for real. I ran the plot through my head again. In the book our marriage lasted less than 3 years, meaning in under a year Victoria would bankrupt my family and throw me out with nothing. The novel skimmed over the business war, I didn't know her exact moves. But this life was far too good to lose. There was no way I was letting my family go down. I dressed and went downstairs. The moment I saw the divorce papers on the coffee table I grabbed a pen and signed without hesitation. Hesitating even a second would disrespect the entire concept. Then I placed Victoria's platinum card on top of the signed papers, packed the original Noah's most important belongings, and returned to the Brooks family estate. The moment my mother saw me she dropped everything and rushed over. "Noah? Why are you home so early? Did Victoria throw you out?" I smiled and shook my head. "No, Mom. Everything's fine." She clearly didn't believe me. Normally at this hour I'd be preparing gourmet lunch boxes to deliver to Victoria. Mom took my hand. "Why didn't you call? I would have had the chef make all your favorites." She studied me. "And when did you get this haircut? This suit looks amazing. You look so handsome lately." Her eyes shone with pure love. She immediately called for our housekeeper, Mrs. Larson, to prepare my favorite dishes. "I'll call your father too, tell him to come home for lunch." Before I could stop her she was already on the phone. I took the chance to look around the house. Every familiar corner lifted my mood. As soon as Mom hung up she was fussing over me again. "Noah, if anything is wrong you have to tell us. We're always here." Looking at this warm, beautiful woman, remembering her tragic fate in the novel, I stepped forward and hugged her tightly. Silently I swore, "I will change your ending. I will change Dad's ending." Mom stiffened for a second. How long since her son had hugged her like this? "Mom. I'm sorry. I made you worry for so long. That ends now." Her eyes instantly filled with tears. Since the wedding I had rarely come home. When I did, it was always about Victoria. Mom had warned me, "You can't force love." But I'd insisted I would marry no one else. As their only child, they gave in. After the wedding she watched me waste away, pride crumbling, world shrinking until it held only one person. It broke her heart. I wiped her tears and smiled. "Look at me, Mom. I'm okay now." "Really?" She studied me, sensing something different, that her old son was finally back. By the time lunch was ready, Dad had arrived, and he'd brought Sophia with him. Sophia was the daughter of Dad's late best friend. After her parents died she lived with her grandmother, but it became too difficult. So the Brooks family took her in, raised her like their own daughter, put her through college. She started at Brooks Enterprises as an intern and rose quickly to senior vice president. I glanced at her. She was already looking at me. In the novel the original Noah always treated her like an older sister. While chasing Victoria he constantly told Sophia how much he loved Victoria and asked for advice. In front of him she played the perfect, protective big sister, never crossing any line. Readers never suspected anything until the very end. After the divorce, Sophia searched for me and found me at the scene of a fatal car crash. She held my broken, blood-soaked body, eyes red, voice shaking. "Noah. I regret it. I regret not stopping you back then." The love in her eyes was no longer hidden. She had loved me silently for years. She tried desperately to keep me alive, but couldn't. She watched me slip away. That scene made me love-hate her character in equal measure. Mom smiled. Sophia, you're here too. I followed. Hey, Sophia. She looked at me with fond teasing. Aren't you usually busy delivering gourmet lunches right now? What brings you back to the mortals? I just smiled. It's too hot outside. She said it was too much trouble and told me to stop. Not just Sophia, my parents also turned to stare in disbelief. As expected, the people who loved me most couldn't believe Victoria would ever be kind to me. Seeing their expressions, I changed the subject. Sophia, how are things at the company? She gave me a curious look. We're negotiating several major deals. If we land even half of them, it's a game changer. I frowned. Multiple huge projects at once? What if liquidity gets tight? If the Langford family just stands by? Sophia smiled. We can handle it. I shook my head seriously. The market feels unstable right now. The priority should be preserving cash flow and stability, not aggressive expansion. I couldn't say more without sounding insane. This was the only warning I could give. Sophia studied me. Since when do you care about company strategy? I realized my slip. The original Noah never showed interest in business. I rubbed my chin. You and Dad need to be extremely careful with these deals. Seriously consider whether we can survive if they go wrong. She stared, trying to read me. Did you hear something from Victoria? Are you asking us to back off so she can take the projects? The lovesick original Noah had often pushed the family to help the Langfords, so her suspicion was natural. I shook my head. No. I've just been having nightmares, the company going bankrupt. It's making me anxious. Sophia went quiet. Clearly she didn't buy it. I hesitated, glanced at my parents across the room, then leaned close and whispered. Actually, I overheard Victoria say she wants to destroy the Brooks family. I pulled back. The tips of Sophia's ears turned pink. I pretended not to notice and lowered my voice further. I'm scared it would break Mom and Dad. I don't understand business, so I'm counting on you. Sophia leaned back against the sofa, casually touching her ear as she watched me. And what about you, Noah? What are your plans? Before I could answer, Mom called us for lunch. The table was loaded with home-cooked dishes. My mood soared. Mom served me a piece of braised short rib. Eat. You've gotten too thin. I looked at the spread and swallowed hard. It's been so long since I had real home cooking. A few days here and I'll be back to normal weight. Mom kept piling food on my plate. If you want home-cooked meals every day, I'll have them delivered. I waved my hand. No need. I'm moving back home permanently. The entire table froze, Mom, Dad, Sophia, all staring. I set my chopsticks down and looked at them seriously. Mom, Dad, Sophia. I'm divorcing Victoria. I used to think if I just tried hard enough she would love me. I was wrong. You can't force love. I don't want to love her anymore. I just want to come home and be with my family. I said it lightly, no trace of pain or reluctance. But to them Noah's obsession with Victoria had seemed unbreakable. My parents looked stunned that I could let go so easily. Why is everyone so quiet? You're not thinking I'm some failure crawling back to live off you, are you? Mom snapped out of it, face breaking into a huge smile. Of course not. I'm just so happy you're finally coming home. Dad immediately pulled out his phone and transferred $12 million to my account. Come home whenever you want. This family can support you for 10 lifetimes. Looking at them, I felt my throat tighten. In the novel, after bankruptcy, my father suffered a massive stroke and became bedridden. My mother fell into deep depression and eventually ended her own life. I had to prevent that. I served them food in return. Just as I set my chopsticks down, a soft voice spoke. What about me? Sophia was pouting playfully, pretending to compete with my parents. I glanced at her and placed a piece of grilled lamb on her plate. Meanwhile at Langford Group headquarters, Victoria's assistant entered her office holding documents. "Ms. Langford, isn't Mr. Brooks bringing your lunch today?" Victoria checked her watch. Normally by now I would already be there with a carefully prepared meal. So he's so terrified of the divorce he doesn't even dare show his face anymore. Pathetic. She gave her assistant a cold glance. What? Did you get addicted to his cooking? Should I call and ask him to make you something? The assistant quickly shook her head. No, just making conversation. Truth was, the assistant usually ate most of the lunch I brought, and she'd grown to love it. Finally curiosity won. It's just, this is the first time he hasn't come. Seeing her boss's darkening mood, the assistant grabbed the signed files and fled. For once Victoria had an uninterrupted workday. But after leaving the office the image of last night's Noah, sharp suit, cold eyes, calmly demanding divorce, kept replaying. She sneered and headed straight to a private bar. The moment she entered the VIP room her friends all turned. She sat down. When they kept staring her expression soured. What are you all looking at? Elena approached cautiously. Where's your little shadow? Why isn't Noah glued to you tonight? Victoria shot them an icy glare. Weren't you all the ones complaining he was always following me? Now he's gone. Isn't that what you wanted? Isabella read the tension and poured Victoria a drink. We're just worried. Now that he's finally stopped chasing, are you suddenly going to start missing him? As her closest friends they knew better than anyone, wherever Victoria went, Noah followed. The Noah they knew would never book hostesses at a club. He would never leave her alone to go on vacation. Victoria's face turned to stone. If you're not going to use your eyes maybe you should donate them. Elena laughed. Hey, as long as you don't care, we're happy. Come on, toast to Victoria's new freedom. Victoria picked up her glass and drank, ignoring their subtext. After a few more rounds Isabella held up her phone. Victoria, I know being forced into marriage hurt your pride. But with his looks and family money he's honestly a catch. How did you keep him from touching you for 2 full years? Back when I was still obsessed I'd added all Victoria's friends on Instagram so they could see my endless posts. My feed used to be a shrine, couple photos, mostly me alone, sappy love captions, thirst trap level devotion. I knew Victoria had muted me long ago. Her friends would screenshot my posts and send them to their group chat to mock her. But 2 hours earlier they discovered I had deleted every single post about Victoria, then uploaded a new grid, me on a yacht off the coast of Santorini. Caption, finally breathing fresh air with the people who actually care. Victoria glanced over and saw the photos, me smiling, relaxed, golden hour light catching every angle. Madison stared. It really feels like Noah has completely changed. Elena nodded. He actually looks kind of hot like this. Isabella smiled. This is what a man looks like when he's finally moved on. With a sharp crack Victoria slammed her glass down, shattering it. Her face was pure ice. Is something wrong with all of you? We came here to drink, not to obsess over Noah Brooks. She stormed out, slamming the door. Elena blinked. I thought she didn't care. Why is she so angry? Madison chuckled. You don't think she's actually starting to feel something, do you? Isabella narrowed her eyes. I don't know if she is, but I might be. In the car Victoria opened Instagram and pulled up my profile. Only then did she see I was in Santorini. In every photo my eyes sparkled with real joy, head tilted back laughing, direct gaze at the camera, pure contentment. Was this Noah Brooks? The spoiled heir whose eyes used to contain only worship for her or rage at everyone else? The man who threw childish tantrums? A person couldn't change this drastically overnight. Victoria refused to believe the man in these photos was real. Others might fall for it, but she knew better. This was just another pathetic ploy to get her attention, posting vacation photos to make her jealous, to force her to reach out, giving him an excuse to back down from the divorce talk. And yet, even knowing that, she couldn't look away from these unfamiliar, genuinely happy images. Meanwhile, I was finally living the vacation I'd always dreamed of in my previous life. Santorini's white buildings, endless blue sea, fresh grilled octopus at sunset, every moment screamed, life can be beautiful. In my old life I was always broke. I never experienced anything like this. Nothing worth remembering. But now, the food, the view, my family's love, everything felt worth capturing. The next morning I mentioned wanting to try paragliding. Mom immediately hired a private instructor, a beautiful woman named Elena, different Elena. She took me up and we soared over the caldera. Pure freedom. Back at Langford Group headquarters, Victoria took a call from her mother during a packed schedule. "Honey, why is Noah on vacation with another woman? Did you two fight?" Victoria frowned. "No." Her mother's tone sharpened. "If you didn't fight, why is he getting so close to another woman and posting it for the world to see?" Victoria pulled up my profile. I'd posted a new video minutes earlier, paragliding over the Aegean. Caption, "First time flying. No words for how alive I feel." In the footage, a woman was sometimes holding my arm, steadying me, actions that looked intimate from the outside. Face obscured by gear, but her figure was stunning. Comments from old college friends were already rolling in. "Get a room, lol. Y'all look perfect together." Not jealous, but damn. Elena, Victoria's friend, saw it too and tagged Victoria in their group chat. Madison laughed. "Even if you file, there's still a 30-day cooling-off period." "Looks like he's getting impatient." Isabella nodded. "Can't blame him. Young guy, how long can anyone stay celibate?" The chat was interrupted by a notification. "Victoria Langford has left the group." Idiots. Victoria was certain. How could Noah really want a divorce? His entire social media existence had always revolved around her. He hadn't contacted her since yesterday, but his profile was updating constantly. Posting so much could only mean one thing: he wanted her to see. This paragliding video was just like booking the Hostesses, another desperate bid for attention, trying to create urgency so she'd reach out and give him an easy way to drop the divorce nonsense. Men. So predictable. Victoria snorted. Noah had seriously overestimated his importance. Him finally leaving her alone was exactly what she wanted. She tossed her phone aside and returned to work. But the image of this new Noah kept intruding, leaving her inexplicably restless. She loaded her schedule with back-to-back meetings to drown it out. That evening she took Julian to a high-profile charity gala for the daughter of the Harrington family. Soon #Victoria Langford attends gala with Julian Hayes was trending. Victoria frequently brought Julian to formal events. But her extravagant, live-streamed wedding to Noah was still fresh in public memory. Reporters didn't dare speculate openly, neither family could be offended. Still, every time Noah saw these headlines in the past, he would assume Julian was making moves and go confront him, sometimes violently. When Victoria returned to her hotel suite and saw the trending topic, images of Noah's old jealous rages alternated with his current carefree vacation photos. A strange anticipation flickered in her chest. She showered and went to bed. Meanwhile, I'd spent the morning paragliding and the afternoon on a private catamaran. I couldn't remember ever being this happy. That night, after a shower, I was scrolling in bed when I saw a message from one of the original Noah's old contacts, a link to the trending topic about Victoria and Julian. I glanced at it. Same old photo. No real scandal. I was about to reply, not interested anymore, when a video call came from Sophia. "Having fun?" she asked. I nodded. "It's incredible." Sophia had clearly just showered. Hair damp, skin glowing, lips naturally red. Her eyes carried extra warmth tonight. I had to fight to keep my composure. She pouted. "I want to come too." I gave her a look. "Focus on work. What I told you before wasn't a joke." The Langfords are coming for us. The whole company depends on you being ready. Sophia paused, towel still in hand, and looked straight at me. Aren't you afraid I'm just like Victoria, secretly plotting to take over? I smiled and shook my head. No. I trust you completely. Her beautiful eyes softened. I hadn't expected my words to hit so deeply. I quickly tried to end the call. It's late. I'm going to sleep. You should too. She looked hopeful. Don't forget to bring me something back. Lying in bed, I thought about the years of silent love Sophia had carried for the original Noah. The least I could do was grant her small request. The next morning Victoria woke and checked her phone. The topic was still trending, but Noah hadn't contacted her. He hadn't bothered Julian. She couldn't resist opening my profile again. 5 minutes earlier I'd posted a new video, me riding a rented scooter through narrow Santorini streets with my mom on the back, both of us laughing like kids. My face glowed with pure joy, brighter than the famous sunset behind us. Victoria stared. Noah hadn't come back. He was still on vacation. If he had time to post, he'd definitely seen the trending topic. Yet not only had he not rushed back, he looked even happier. Victoria let out a frustrated laugh and threw her phone aside. So he'd finally grown a backbone. She'd see how long it lasted. Her day was packed wall to wall. When she returned to the hotel exhausted, she collapsed on the sofa and stared at the lamp's warm glow. The image of me happily riding that scooter kept replaying. She pulled out her phone again. I'd posted another update a few hours earlier. Caption: Nothing beats family. The grid was filled with shots of me eating street food, buying little souvenirs, goofy selfies with my mom. Center photo, me and mom hugging. Dad commented, "Your dad isn't good enough?" I replied instantly, "Dad's the best two-heartsuit." Sophia chimed in, "Noah, you're so biased." "What about me?" I answered, "Sophia is the best in the world." No contest. For days Victoria had felt a strange tightness in her chest. It had been 4 days since I last tried to see her or message her. With each passing day I looked happier. Seeing me so content made her feel physically ill, like something rotten was stuck in her throat. Just then her phone buzzed. A message from me. The tightness vanished instantly. He'd finally broken. For the first time she opened our chat with anticipation, only to read cold words. "It's been days since I signed the papers. Shouldn't we go finalize this?" Victoria stared at the text. Her grip tightened until her knuckles whitened. After a long silence she stood, grabbed her keys, and drove home. The house, always lit up no matter how late she returned, was completely dark tonight. Only streetlights flickered outside. She turned on the foyer light and stepped inside. Empty. No one waiting. On the coffee table sat her platinum card on top of the signed divorce agreement. She picked up the papers. The bold signature, Noah Brooks, stared back at her. The pages crumpled in her fist as emotions churned violently inside. Noah Brooks, the man who was throwing jealous fits and fighting over her just days ago, actually wanted to divorce her. How was that possible? She let out a cold, disbelieving laugh. Meanwhile at the Brooks estate my mom was unpacking bags of souvenirs and handing them out to the staff. Noah said these are delicious, he brought some back for everyone. The staff thanked her warmly. The whole house felt alive and joyful. Dad was drinking tea. Sophia was on a work call in the next room. The house was huge, but it felt full of life, never empty. I checked my phone. Victoria still hadn't replied. I made a mental note to follow up later. Sophia sat beside me. "Where's mine?" I looked up into her clear, hopeful eyes. Knowing how long she'd loved me in silence made it impossible not to feel partial. I opened my suitcase and pulled out 2 small ceramic night lights, handmade, one painted with delicate olive branches. "Which one do you want?" Sophia looked at both. "Who's the other one for?" I didn't call out her little test. It's for me. She broke into a radiant smile, picked up the olive branch one, and examined it closely. Mom, just finishing handing out gifts, saw it and commented casually. Oh, Noah painted that one himself. Sophia's head snapped up. You made this? The original Noah had only ever made handmade gifts for Victoria. After years of quiet longing, this was the first time Sophia had received something handmade from me. Her joy was impossible to hide. I put on a mock stern face. What? You don't like it? Give it back then. She shook her head frantically. No, I love it. She kept looking at me. The restrained depth of affection in her gaze was almost too much to handle. I stood up, phone in hand. I'm tired. Going to rest. In my room, I opened my phone. Victoria had finally replied. City Hall. 9 a.m. tomorrow. In the novel, Victoria bankrupted my family before forcing the divorce, leaving me with nothing. If we divorced now, early, could I change their fate? My mood soared. I was so excited I set 3 alarms, terrified of oversleeping. Next morning I woke before the first alarm. Thinking of freedom, I dressed carefully. Downstairs, Dad had already left for work. Mom was in the conservatory arranging flowers from the garden. She saw me and called me over for breakfast. I made an excuse, running late, and left quickly. I planned to surprise them with the news after everything was finalized. The original Noah had a driver's license, but I'd never actually learned to drive in my previous life. I only knew scooters. The car I booked arrived at City Hall at 8:55. I called Victoria. I'm here. When are you arriving? Soon, she replied. Soon apparently meant 9:35. I stood under a tree cursing her entire bloodline until her car finally pulled up. I rushed forward eagerly. Victoria watched me approach through tinted glass. Backlit by morning sun, I seemed to glow, somehow more striking every time she saw me. I knocked on her window. Only then did she snap out of it and open the door. She stepped out. Our eyes met. My gaze held nothing for her, no longing, no pain. Just a calm, slightly unfamiliar smile. Nothing like what she'd expected. I gave her a brief, indifferent glance. Let's go. I turned and walked toward the entrance, steps light, almost excited. Only then was Victoria finally convinced. I really wanted the divorce. She watched my back. Memories of being forced into this marriage flooded back, still raw after 2 years. Being forced to marry me had been a public humiliation. From day one she had planned her revenge. But revenge day hadn't arrived yet, and now I wanted out. I walked a few steps, noticed she hadn't moved, frowned, and returned. What's wrong? Her silence made me uneasy. Don't tell me you forgot your ID. You came here for a divorce and didn't bring ID? I tried to stay calm. Fine, have someone bring it. Quickly. Victoria stared at me coldly, saying nothing. I was losing patience. Well? Make the call. Why are you just staring? Only then did she glance at her watch and speak. I have a board meeting at 10 o'clock. We'll handle this another time. I frowned. We're already here. Why make another trip? Just push the meeting back an hour. It won't end the world. I only said it because in the novel she constantly postponed meetings for Julian, so they clearly weren't that critical. But the moment the words left my mouth, her face changed. She looked at me like I'd committed a mortal sin. Noah Brooks, do you really think your little problems are more important than thousands of employees' livelihoods? You think entirely too highly of yourself. I was stunned into silence for several seconds. What a hypocrite. It was fine when Julian made her cancel, but when I suggest it, suddenly thousands of jobs are at stake? And isn't divorce both our business? Victoria didn't give me time to respond. She turned and walked away. So much for the divorce. Shows up late, no ID, And I'm the one who should be angry, yet she storms off like I offended her. I was furious enough to spit blood. I already had my Instagram victory post drafted, plus plans for a proper celebration. All for nothing. I went to a convenience store, bought an armful of snacks and energy drinks, then headed straight to Langford Group headquarters. When Victoria returned from her meeting, she found me lounging on her office sofa, playing a mobile game, chili jerky stick hanging from my mouth. The coffee table was covered in junk food wrappers, food the old Noah would never have touched. Victoria frowned in disgust. "What are you doing here?" I didn't look up, just chewed. "Waiting for you." She paused, studying me for a long moment before walking to her desk and sitting. "Waiting for what?" This Noah, eating junk, playing games, zero trace of wealthy air polish, was a complete stranger. I finally paused the game and looked at her. "We didn't finish the divorce this morning, right? I know you're busy, so I figured I'd wait here until you're free and we can go then." Victoria gave me a glacial stare. "I'm busy all day." I raised an eyebrow. "Then when will you be free?" She picked up a file. "I'll contact you when I have time." I had a strong feeling she was backing out. If she truly wanted the divorce, how could she not find time? But why change her mind? She despised the original Noah. Shouldn't divorce be a relief? Or, had she not finished punishing me yet? The novel never said it outright, but her treatment of the original Noah was clearly revenge for the forced marriage. The more he craved her love, the more she made him suffer the pain of never having it. Now that I wanted out, was she going to make me suffer the pain of not being able to leave? I shot to my feet, furious. "Victoria Langford, do you want this divorce or not? I'm giving you 3 days. If you don't come with me to finalize it in 3 days, I will file unilaterally. This is not a discussion. It's a notice." I grabbed my snack bag and turned to leave. Just then the door opened. Julian Hayes walked in. The moment he saw me, fear flashed in his eyes. "Am I interrupting?" He started to back out. Victoria waved him in. "No, perfect timing." Julian was the novel's male lead, classic tragic backstory. Gambling addict father, chronically ill mother. In high school, his father's debts forced him to start working. Victoria discovered him, signed him to her media company, and turned him into a major star. As the hero, he was kind, hardworking, principled. He fell for Victoria the moment she helped him, but always felt unworthy, so he never confessed. Instead, he worked tirelessly to become a man she could respect. After the forced marriage, Julian, despite his feelings, refused to cross any lines. He maintained strict platonic distance. The novel was mostly told from Julian's and the original Noah's perspectives. Victoria's feelings for Julian were shown through her actions. Up to the part I'd read, they still hadn't confessed. Their restrained mutual pining drove readers wild with anticipation. Meanwhile, everyone begged for the villain, original Noah, to disappear. I was already heading out. I glanced from Victoria to Julian, then gave them a genuine smile. "You two take your time. I won't interrupt." As I passed Julian, he flinched away. I couldn't blame him. The original Noah had seen him as the man destroying his marriage, harassing him constantly, even arranging beatings a few times. Now, trying to clean up my image, I walked out and even closed the door gently behind me. Julian watched me go in complete confusion, then turned back to Victoria. He saw her staring at the closed door, expression colder than he'd ever seen. As he approached with a small gift bag of local delicacies from his recent trip, he noticed the fountain pen in her hand had scratched chaotic lines across the document in front of her. She looked up, expression clearing slightly. "What brings you here?" Julian smiled and set the bag down. "Some specialties from my trip. Thought you might like them. And thank you again for helping find that specialist for my mom." He looked at her, eyes full of quiet emotion. "Are you and Noah really getting divorced?" Meanwhile, I walked out and immediately ran into Victoria's assistant carrying files. I stuck my arm out, blocking her path. Your boss is in an important meeting right now. Wait until Julian Hayes leaves before going in. The assistant looked from the closed door to me, completely baffled. Julian Hayes was inside, and Mr. Brooks wasn't throwing a jealous tantrum. He was just standing here calmly. I opened my snack bag. Want some? The assistant, notorious food lover, couldn't resist. She took a piece. Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I chuckled. From now on, try to be a little more aware. When Julian Hayes comes to see Victoria, don't go in and disturb them. The assistant just nodded, speechless. I walked away. Helping them get together was helping me. The sooner they gave in to their feelings, the sooner Victoria would finalize the divorce. Suing would require proving the marriage was irretrievably broken, way too much hassle. The assistant waited until Julian left before entering with her files. As Victoria signed, the assistant couldn't hold back. You'll never guess what Mr. Brooks just told me. Victoria glanced up. The assistant continued. He said I should only come in after Mr. Hayes leaves. And that from now on, whenever Mr. Hayes visits, I shouldn't disturb you too. Victoria threw a file at her. Does he sign your checks? The assistant caught it. Don't you think Mr. Brooks has changed? He's not jealous anymore. It's almost like he's trying to set you up with Mr. Hayes. A chilling smile touched Victoria's lips. Have you had too much free time lately? The assistant immediately shut up, grabbed the signed file, and ran. Victoria slammed her pen down. The smile slowly faded into a thin, cold line. Her eyes narrowed. I left the Langford building. It was almost noon. I took a cab home. After lunch with Mom, I looked up driving schools nearby and booked private lessons. A garage full of supercars I couldn't drive was torture. The original Noah had a license, I just needed to learn the actual skill. The school offered VIP training. Money talks, they assigned me a private instructor immediately, a patient, beautiful woman named Claire. Top dollar really does buy quality. I was hopeless behind the wheel at first, but Claire never lost her calm. She gave endless encouragement and perfect emotional support all afternoon. By evening I could at least manage basic control. To thank her, I invited her to dinner at a nice seafood place. Just as Victoria was leaving her office, she received a message from Elena. We were out of line last time. We weren't thinking about your feelings. Let us treat you to dinner tonight to apologize. 20 minutes later, Victoria walked into the restaurant and immediately spotted a familiar figure. It was me, laughing happily. She approached quietly, just in time to hear me openly complimenting the woman across from me. Claire, with your looks and figure, why are you wasting time teaching driving? You should be modeling or acting. Claire laughed and explained she wasn't actually an instructor, she was the school owner's daughter. They were short-staffed, so she stepped in to teach me. I burst out laughing. As I laughed, I felt an icy stare. I looked up. Victoria stood nearby, face a frozen mask. Before I could speak, she grabbed my arm and dragged me outside. Noah Brooks, we're not even divorced yet and you're already out with other women. I looked at her, close enough to see pure fury in her eyes. Such a beautiful face ruined by constant anger. I rubbed my wrist. What other women? I was having a normal dinner. Stop imagining things. Victoria glared. A normal dinner? Do I look stupid to you? I tilted my head back and looked at the night sky, refusing to meet her eyes. If you think you're stupid, there's nothing I can do about it. She let out a sharp, furious laugh. Noah Brooks, you think this is still 2 years ago? That I have to tolerate anything you do? From now on, I'm the one who decides. Seeing her actually touch me, something I knew was torture for her, I decided to push harder. I smiled, stepped closer, and boldly slid an arm around her waist. So tell me, what exactly do you have in mind? Victoria swallowed hard. Her expression turned grim as she grabbed my wrist. I knew every touch from the original Noah disgusted her. The more contact, the worse it got. Seeing her face darken further, I raised my other hand, took hers, and kept going. How about we get a room right now? Her thin summer dress did nothing to block the sensation. My hand brushing her leg sent a visible jolt through her. Her face flushed, then turned colder than ever. The old Noah would never have dared be so bold, so physical. My eyes held zero love for her, yet my actions screamed raw physical desire, treating her like any other woman I could buy for the night. Victoria swallowed again. Her voice was ice. Since she still hadn't shoved me away, I leaned in, as if to kiss her. That finally broke her. She pushed me back hard and pulled out a silk handkerchief to wipe her hands. Noah Brooks, get rid of your delusions. You will never get what you want from me. And then it clicked. Of course. The only reason she wouldn't grant the divorce was because I was the one who wanted it now. I rubbed my wrist and sneered. Ever consider that what I can't get from you, I can easily get from other women? I might want your body, but honestly, lights off, it's all the same. You're not my only option. Victoria's face turned black. She clenched her jaw, threw the handkerchief on the ground, and laughed, pure rage. Then by all means, try. I smiled. I was just about to, until you interrupted. If there's nothing else, I'm going back inside. My phone's still on the table. Seeing she wasn't going to stop me, I turned and walked back in. I'd barely sat down when my phone buzzed. Victoria had sent a video. I opened it. My face went pale. The footage showed the original Noah hiring people to kidnap Julian, shoving someone into traffic during a fight, causing an accident, and another clip of him paying thugs to beat Julian. Enough evidence to put me away for years. She'd never used it before, wary of the Brooks family's power. Using it now meant she no longer cared. I'd only had a few days of this good life. I didn't come here to end up in prison. Another message arrived. You have 2 minutes. Get up here. Blackmail. As much as I hated it, prison was worse. Claire saw my face drain of color and poured me water. What's wrong? I waved it off. Sorry, something came up. I have to go. Enjoy the rest of your meal. I quickly settled the bill and headed upstairs to Victoria's private suite. In the suite, Elena had witnessed the entire confrontation outside. She'd snapped a photo. From her angle it looked like Victoria was aggressively pinning me against the wall in a passionate moment. Now she was showing it to the others. From the window they watched me walk away without looking back, confirming their theory that Victoria had forced herself on me. Elena said in surprise. Okay, new rule, no one mentions Noah Brooks tonight. When Victoria walked in, Elena immediately greeted her. Everyone started chatting normally, pretending nothing happened.